your both first impressions from watching the Cowboys practice in pads for the first time. I think the first couple of, I guess there were 4 practices, 3 of which they didn't have shells on. The 4th practice they had shells on Saturday, and then, or I guess today would be practice number 5. So as you guys think about what you've seen over these first 4 practices, and then kind of the difference in what you saw, maybe intensity-wise or just performance-wise, we talked a little bit about what stood out, but Joe, you've been around for a while. You've been to so many of these training camps. There's always kind of that ramp up session, and then you get to putting pads on for the very first time. So I guess just overall, your biggest kind of takeaway from yesterday.
Well, you could just tell that, these guys have put in a ton of work in the off season. They have a sense that not only are they better than before, but they have a sense, and this is especially true with the offense, that they can be great. That's why they came up with Gotti. And then defensively, I just think there's so many new faces. They think that means that they're going to improve. I would put the brakes on that, saying that, the NFL is such a difficult league. When you have so much new involved in the equation, things are going to be difficult. There are going to be hiccups along the way, and listen, unbridled optimism is a great thing. I'm all for it. But I pull back on the reins a little bit with what I'm hearing from some of these guys, especially defensively, because it is going to be difficult. And the measure of this Cowboys defense, especially, will not be how they come out of the gate. It's going to be how they show resilience when they come up against difficulties that I promise will be baked in the cake.
All that said, though, Mike, it did feel like the defense certainly showed out on day one and gave a little bit more reason for optimism. I get it. We want to pump the brakes here. I'm usually the first one to do so. But if you're looking for plays against a good offensive unit, Mike, it certainly seems like we saw something yesterday.
Yes. Listen, we have spent the entire offseason saying, just be better. Just be better. Just be a little bit better. And that starts by not getting dominated out here in Oxnard. And yesterday, they were absolutely not dominated. In fact, they at least had moments where they looked like the dominant side of the ball. It wasn't the entire practice. I'm not trying to go there. But they had moments where they looked really good. And that's a huge step. It's a one-day step. And yes, to Joe's point, you need staying power. You need, to prove it over the course of the entirety of camp. And really, even camp doesn't matter all that much. You need to prove it September 13th. You need to prove it throughout the season. But it's a step. And it's the only data point we have right now with full pads on. And that data point is promising. It's nothing more than promising. But at least we're not sitting here going, oh my goodness, they got completely roasted by the offense again. We're not sitting here doing that. So it's a little baby step worth of growth.
Joe, I'm curious, when you look at how quarterbacks approach training camp specifically, do you see them throw more tight window throws just to test it and give more chances for plays on the offense and defensive side of the ball? Is that when we see a pick up from Dak Prescott, that's kind of the mindset, or is that reading it naturally, I suppose?
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Let me button up the defensive thought, because I will say this, you guys, and this is promising. They look coordinated. Well, that's damning them with faint praise. That is damning them with faint praise, but they did look coordinated, which is a good thing. Now we'll see how it holds up when the bullets really start flying. But yeah, no, you bring up a really good point, Andrew. Dak Prescott has talked about this in training camps past, that he will specifically try and be a little more risky at times in camp to see just how far he can push things. And we saw that on display yesterday, in particular, when the Cowboys really had a really good red zone period offensively. And Dak Prescott threw a ball into traffic to Ryan Flanoy, who really wrestled it away from the defensive back for a touchdown. And then later he hit Jake Ferguson on kind of a post route. That wasn't as messy of a look. It was a much more clean look, and Dak put it right on the money. But that was a really good example, that touchdown strike to Flanoy, of the fact that Dak, will be a little bit more gutsy during camp, just to see exactly how far he can elongate the windows that are there, and if he can still keep his offense away from danger.
You mentioned some of the defensive back plays that stood out yesterday. But, Joe, I go back to listening to your one-on-one with Jerry Jones. I think this might have been the part of the conversation where he was looking himself in the mirror, as Andrew Seeley so accurately visually showed us. And he said something along the lines of, by golly, you're going to be able to stop the run. You better get some boys in there that can stop the run. So as you guys think about what this defense has looked like in terms of impressing you, giving you some promise, some hope, would you say you've been more encouraged by their ability to stop the run or by some of the play of these defensive backs?
First of all, I'm going to stop down the show for the first time today. The first stop down is to give Andrew Seeley his credence and to make sure that we point out genius on the mirror edit. The mirror edit was absolute genius by you, Andrew Seeley. We've seen it before. We come to expect it, but it needs to be pointed out. That's great stuff. The other thing I want to show stop the showdown for.
And the cockiest editor
Michelle,
on planet Earth gets a little cockier.
Feeding the ego. We are stroking it indeed.
You guys are just cutting me a WWE promo at this point. This is going to make it into my own editing reel. That's all I'll say.
But when it wins you an Emmy and our faces and voices are in it, I'm here for it.
It's dialectical.
Give him the Emmy, Lone Star chapter. Stop goofing around.
The other thing we need to stop the showdown for is Michelle doing Jerry Jones. I mean, just full stop down. Every show during camp, you get 2 minutes of doing your best, Jerry. I'd say you got to get a little bit lower.
Yeah,
and what he did say was,
I got to work on that.
What he did say was, I do think we can stop the run. We got some big guys up front. I think they can get it done. I think that they are equipped now, that defensive line, to get some things done we couldn't get done before. And I think he's right. Listen, when you got Quinnen Williams
you need
and
to
Kenny
slow
Clark
down a little bit, and you need
line,
a little more circular logic.
I didn't want to get into the Jerry speak because that's a whole other science.
We have an hour long show.
More than 2
guys.
minutes for that.
25 years worth of it.
Joe's is either it's Jerry, but it's also giving like a little bit of if Stone Cold Steve Austin was doing a Hulk Hogan impression.
Ooh.
I only got half of that.
I like layers.
It's a stunner.
Yeah, brother. But yeah, no, I think Jerry thinks they can defensively be better because they are better up front. And that's where it all starts. And, you know, some of us have been calling for this for years. And the Cowboys have kind of changed the way that they do business defensively because they have put many more resources on that defensive line than we've seen in a long time. I mean, you got to go back to when, you know, they got Marcus Spears with a first-round pick, and, you know, they, of course, got DeMarcus Ware that same draft. Of course, he was an edge player. But still, the Cowboys they've always had quick guys who could shoot gaps and, you know, more athletic guys in the middle, for the most part, in the middle of that defensive line. But now they got a couple of big-time hoss run stuffing, you know, guys who look like blocking sleds who can try and stop the run. And I like it. And they've also, if you take this out logically the entire way, they've also put resources towards the very back of the defense as well, like they have never done before with Caleb Downs and Jalen Thompson. So there's been a shift in the way that they go about playing defense. And I think that's what Jerry was hinting at, Michelle, when he answered that question. And I think he is hanging his hat on the fact that will change this team as a whole. We shall see. We shall see.
Well, and the other thing that's beneficial for this defense is that they are going up against a bona fide, legitimate, one of the best offenses in the NFL. And actually, second-year corner Savone Revel spoke about just being able to practice against this offense and how much better that will make them come game day. That's thought number 5, Kelly.
Keep it a little brief, man. Hey, it's a reason the boys top 5, for real. And yeah, you could tell from watching last week, and start of this week, they kind of made me better. Yeah. You know what I mean? Going against them boys and competing against them boys every day, even our backups. Flournoy, they just sharpen my skills each and every day, and I'll go back and watch film, see what I need to do, see how they move. You know what I mean? And fix it in practice. But them boys, man, y'all know, y'all see, and that's just who they is.
As when they talk about iron sharpens iron, it's that wide receiver core trying to get the cornerback room up to speed, because we're feeling decent about the defensive line. We feel slightly better about the linebacker core as long as Overshown stays healthy, and we have already addressed the safety position. But the corners is kind of the one link that we're wondering what's going to happen on that front, and Revel's going to be a significant part of that. He and Durant had some big plays yesterday, Michelle, that stuck out.
Yeah, no kidding. I know. I'm pretty sure, was Durant the one to pick off Dak in the end zone or close to the end zone?
Yes.
I mean, both of those guys, super young guys. Obviously, Revel missed a portion of his rookie season last year because he was still recovering from the ACL he suffered in college. It was why he dropped down in the draft when the Cowboys took him. So I guess to call him a second-year player, he's like a 1.5-year player. But certainly has room for growth. But I know he looked promising out there yesterday.
Yeah, I was impressed. He made a number of plays. He was blanketed all over George Pickens on a couple of different zone where he was very well positioned and doing everything he needed to make that play. He popped up in a number of different spots. There was one play on a slant route to Ryan Flanoy that he played very well. He has the size, he has the quickness, and he's showing an enhanced understanding, I think, of where he needs to position himself, where he needs to leverage himself, and it's all working for him. Now, again, we talked about this earlier. It's one practice, but it's a practice that I got to imagine he walked away from feeling like, okay, that's what I can do. That's the kind of level that I can bring even against elite wide receivers like George Pickens, even against an up-and-coming guy like Ryan Flanoy. I've got the goods. This is the kind of thing that I can do for this team.
I've seen this just in the little bit of time that I was out there. Christian Parker, obviously new defensive coordinator, spending a lot of one-on-one time with Caleb Downs. I mean, we know he comes from a defensive background. But how much, I guess, have you guys seen him lean in to that secondary group? Obviously, Revel, a young guy. Kobe Durant can continue to grow in terms of his reps and experience. But how much are you guys seeing CP lean in with that portion of the defense?
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, Michelle, because if you think about it, that's why Christian Parker has this defensive coordinator job, because of the work he's done, in the past, helping develop defensive backs. It's what he hangs his hat on. So, when you talk about a Caleb Downs trying to learn this system on steroids, if you will, as quickly as he can, we see some of that already. And then when it comes to Savon Revel, it's interesting, right? Because he had the brace on before, the brace is gone now, and you can see right there that leg is really heavily wrapped, right? But he is so much more confident with just that wrap as opposed to the brace. And he talked to us a lot about that fact that he could feel different at this camp as opposed to how he had played before. And he even mentioned some of his ECU days, you guys, and I think we do have him talking about that. I'm curious to hear that.
We do. Stat 6, Kelly.
Definitely feel like I'm getting close to my ECU self, and I say that every single day. I watch film of myself every single day. I do go back and watch my ECU film and see what I used to do. There's a few errors. I wasn't always perfect back then, so I take that, kind of give myself some confidence when I come into practice to prove to who I used to be. I take that. Okay, let's lock in. I know who we're going against each day.
I mean, just think about
so
the
you
fact
can tell.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna not talk anymore. I'm
No,
gonna be quiet.
It's
Because
the thing is,
Michelle,
this is the thing.
you
No, this is the thing. Because Joe, it's not just you. Because I spent an entire show being cut off by everybody, including a plant at one point, and then Kelly, and then the internet.
Whoa,
and then what else? The 2-minute warning.
PLG cut you off?
No, that he was part of the everyone portion, of the human portion of the cutoffs. So it's not you, Joe. It's very much clearly me. But continue.
Michelle, was it an industry plant or foliage, a plant?
I don't even know if that's a joke.
It was
Foliage,
a-
not industry. It
was
is
a
not the
Hawaiian
San Francisco 49ers
Chiflera.
practice facility, Joe. Have you seen those pictures, by the way? The Niners practice facility looks
my God.
ridiculous. They're
Yeah,
practicing
yeah,
right
yeah.
next to like a
Yeah.
power plant or something like that. It like Who thought
That
this
can't
was
be
a
good
good
for their
idea?
health.
It's not good.
No,
for
and
their health,
there's
judging by
a
the
list of injuries that is already out
Exactly.
there.
Exactly.
There are photoshops of like Transformers tackling Mike Evans. It's ridiculous.
Well,
All right,
they
on the
take
plant
MRIs on the field.
Joe, can you name the plant that's in your background? Agronomist.
A ligustrum.
Now, if,
He came
if
prepared. He came
if
prepared.
made that up.
No, but this is the thing. You made up whatever you made up the other day. Ficus?
No, a ficus is a real
And
thing.
now
Whoa,
it's
whoa,
no,
whoa,
but you were
whoa.
wrong. You were wrong. And someone in Kelly's
I was
DMs
wrong.
or comments made sure we knew that you were wrong because we got the Hawaiian
What's the streaming
chapalera.
version of the
Hawaiian
SEC? What do we got to be aware of?
Clara.
I said ficus.
Sure. Just
You guys
making
have
sure.
broken Joe.
And then,
Joe, what?
so all I'm waiting for now is for us, Kelly, I'm going to need a screenshot of this little situation and then your plant Jeopardy King to come back and let us know if his lacastrum or whatever it was accurate.
You guys have broken Joe.
What, Joe? What kind of plant did you say that is?
I said ligustrum. Total guess. And I'm pretty sure that's wrong. That looks much more tropical than a ligustrum. But that's all I got for you.
That's also like you say something with that much confidence, and
It's
I
more like a
fully
fern.
believed you. I was gonna say palm tree, but
So is Joe
that's
between
also
two
why
ferns? Is that where we're going here?
I'm gonna see how good I can multitask.
That's a
I'm gonna try to.
Galifianakis.
I'm gonna take a picture of it and then see if I can reverse image search it, and I'll get back to you guys.
All right, please report live.
That's a ligustrum.
Okay. Anyway, we should probably, talk about the Cowboys a touch more here. I'm the last person to usually suggest that, but
I don't know. Ligustrums are cool.
Let's add to the growing list of great sound bites that we have about Christian Parker specifically. Revel talked a little about his coaching style, including a question from Mike, I believe, halfway through this bite. So, Kelly, this is slot 7. If you can take a break from your reverse Google search.
Man, the intentionality, bro, like the way he wants to come out here and perform, he tell me every day, use your abilities, use your skills, man. You 1% out of the league, man. You lengthy, you fast, got long arms, you strong, it's my responsibility to be there for myself and believe in myself at the end of the day, because I have the coaches that believe in me. So I also got to believe in myself. So that's exactly what he do for me.
How young he is? Does he bring more of a player mentality than maybe?
Oh yeah, he definitely. Yeah, he's very intentional with what he do. Coaching wise, and also he know his players. He know what you can do. Feel down on yourself, he'll pick you back up. Hey, next play. Errors gonna come. Also as an offense, drop a ball, CD drop a ball, next play. As in corner, you gonna give a couple passes, but next play, short memory.
There are as many positive, great sound bites about Christian Parker as times Michelle has been cut off on this show, which is a lot. And it's impressive at this point.
18,001.
Exactly.
I did get. I got the answer. The reverse Google image search. It is a giant white bird of paradise plant, according to the internet.
That Jerry would have that plant at his camp.
You can
made
get
that
one
up.
at.
A what?
You can buy it at Home Depot or Lowe's right now.
A
it.
giant white
Amazon.
You got
bird
it.
of paradise?
I got the same. Same.
Giant white bird of paradise. They're not cheap.
That's impressive. Again, Joe's camera quality is fantastic. That it comes through that cleanly. That he in real life is getting the same return option that Kelly is on a reverse Google search. That's impressive.
So
To
impressive.
that end, do I need to lower my shutter? Am I getting too bright here?
Mike,
make it better?
never.
Yeah.
You're never too bright for us.
Nope,
or
that was
loud.
too much, wasn't it?
Too much.
Okay,
anyway,
Joe,
the
I do.
Cowboys.
I do. As much as I love plant talk and marine layer talk,
Just
I
leave
do
it to
because
us.
you've been around this team for the longest out of any of us, and you've seen defensive coordinators come and go. This is the youngest one that the Cowboys have ever hired. I personally don't know how else to describe him other than describing him as just like a guy with swag. And I don't use that word in my everyday vocabulary, but he just has this vibe about him. Those glasses that he wears, the confidence that he has at 34 years old, and he seems to back it up, right? But I just want your overall impression of what you've seen from him so far and how you feel like he might stack up against the DCs of recent memory for this Cowboys team.
It's different, right? Because I go back to, because I'm going to skip the previous two defensive coordinators, just because, and this isn't fair to Mike Zimmer at all. But listen, that just didn't work. So let's go back to Dan Quinn, right? Dan Quinn was a master at getting his players to play for him. They knew every second of every moment of every day that guy had their back. He understood them. He had a way of connecting with them that is next level in the entire league. I'm not talking about comparing him to just someone in any other industry. I'm talking about in this league where connecting and engaging with your players at times can be difficult. He had a next level way of doing it. And I do think that Christian Parker can get there. I think he does it in a different way, though. There's more of an intensity with CP. There is more of, hey, listen, I got your back, and I got your back because I got it with knowledge. I'm going to give you the knowledge that you need to not only play better, but let's call it what it is. I'm going to give you the knowledge you need to get paid, right? And there's absolutely and obviously power in that. And I do think with his track record, he has the trust of these players. But I will go back to kind of what I hinted at earlier. He still hasn't done it yet at the highest level of his profession. And so I'm sure that while you will never hear it from any of these players in this camp, there are still some of these veterans who are thinking, we got to see what CP can do once he starts calling defenses, once, the bullets start flying for real. And I think that's the best way to put it.
Yes, the bullet starting flying is exactly the phrase that I was about to jump in and use, and you jumped on it already, because that's the thing, is all of the things he's done to this point are massively impressive. He has risen through the coaching ranks at a almost unprecedented pace, and there's reasons for that. He's incredibly successful in his field, and he is very clearly very good at connecting with these guys. But there is that question that until it's answered, and he may answer it with flying colors, but we just don't know until he answers the question. How are you when the bullets do start flying? How are you when it is fourth quarter, you've got a 4-point lead and you've got to go protect it? What are you calling against Lamar Jackson in Rio that's going to help this team get a win? Finally get the stop that they need to get late in a football game when it really, really matters, and you need to show that this defense is a step better than it was last year. Until we see what he's like in that moment, we don't know. There's a lot of reason to think that it's going to be a good result because of the confidence that he does, that just kind of comes baked into him. But we still need to see it.
So much of that sounds exactly like what you could describe the Brian Schottenheimer experience like, right? Like, he is masterful at connecting with his players, but I mean, he started his NFL head coaching career record with a sub 500 record. So,
the
still
gentleman
both
from
of
New
them.
Orleans would like to be recognized.
Please.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
That's from Houston, by the way, Michael. Houston.
I know. I still
Sebastian.
can't stop associating you with the New Orleans.
Grant.
Your Saints fandom just seeps into my brain.
Yeah, exactly. So, and here's one thing that and I'm going to go ahead and play Joe Stradamus here, because there will be a football game for your Dallas Cowboys when Christian Parker's defense gets lit up, and through no fault of his own, because of what we have seen the last 2 years and the fact that we're coming off this defense being the worst scoring defense in the NFL, that the questions will go through the roof. And after that game and the distractions that come from those questions and the doubt created by those questions, even inside that defensive room, that's when we will get to see what Christian Parker is really about. And I, for one, am looking forward to it, because I do think he can rise up to the challenge.
That's always the question when we talk about coordinators and coaching in general. It's players, not plays. You can write something up great, but they still have to execute it on the field. Whether that's they forgot their assignment, or they're trying to take a chance that they were either coached up to, or that's just an instinctual play. It ultimately comes down to how it unfolds on the field. And you can put them in the right spot as much as you want to. If they're not physically strong enough to get a pressure up front or, jam a guy at the line, it doesn't matter.